just waiting for, I think, one more person.
It was nice having that Arnold playing.
I know, that was so cute, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They were so sweet.
they're very nice girls or women.
Still having this involvement in me. I'm not really have a thing about it. So I totally get the like.
Right, some people find it
Very offensive.
I'm just glad I'm not a man.
Oh,
That's
it's
worse.
You know? People call me a bitch. I mean, it's meant to be respectful, but I know. It's makes me feel.
I know. It's not gonna miss out.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
Yeah, because then you know it's respect.
Right.
Exactly.
Like here to me, term.
Yeah, and then much of the girl around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not.
Well, well, it's like, it's like.
No, that's.
Yeah. But it's all in context.
I think my mother will put me here, but that's different. It's their thing.
Yeah.
Context matters.
I want my tech working. Firing on all cylinders. And I think everybody's here. Let me just one last double check. Yep, we're all here. Debbie's here. We're ready to go. So we're gonna get started. And if you didn't already, grab props. Do you guys have bolsters soon, Chris? No, I'm gonna grab you some bolsters. So blocks of bolsters and blankets. Okay, so good morning, late morning, everyone. I'm Erin, and this is a gentle / beginner yoga class. And so this week I've been working on recently for the past however long, rebuilding my website, because just like my personal backstory is that I had a yoga studio that closed because of COVID. And since then, I've been in this weird limbo, figuring out my career path until, Bob opened here, which was really an impetus for me to, move in a direction. But I still have other services that I offer, and I decided I was going to redo my website. And I had a meeting with this brand strategist the other day that went really, really great. And one of the things that I was kind of explaining to her, and that was the first time I kind of said it out loud, is that right now I have 2 young daughters, and the amount of time I can devote to my business, this is why I only teach this one class, is about 20%. Because 80% of my time and my devotion and the need for my energy is with my kids. And that's, how I like it. And sometimes it gets frustrating because there's more that I wish that I could do with my work. But I know that this time is fleeting, that they're little, and that act of devotion to them really matters, and the amount of myself I pour into it. But I also know that as time goes on, the kids get a little bigger and they go off to school, and someday, they grow and move out, that the time that I can devote to my business or myself or, going to the bathroom alone will get bigger. Will be, 25%, 30%, that over time that will grow. And so I'm trying to kind of lay the groundwork and prepare for that day at the same time. And so it got me thinking about this act of devotion and how big of a piece this is to our yoga practice, that just getting here, like Diane was just telling me, she's had a hard time. She was like, oh, I should be gardening. I should be doing this in my yard. Like as she's leaving, her husband's like, go, that it's difficult to devote this time to getting on the mat. It's not always easy. Sometimes it is, and man, that's great. But a lot of the time there's a sacrifice that needs to be made in order for us to show up and to practice yoga. But that the amount of ourselves that we pour into the practice and are open to this experience once we're here, the amount that we can be present to it will pay off in dividends throughout the rest of the day, right? We'll be a better version of ourselves. We'll go back out into the world. We'll be nicer to the people that we come in contact with. We'll be more centered in ourselves. We'll feel more grounded. We'll be more in touch and in tune with what comes up for us emotionally. So it's worth it. It's worth the devotion. And then when we practice, the movement itself, the act of breath and movement linking together can be an act of devotion on a spiritual level if we so choose. Yoga can also be a physical practice where you're stretching, right? And we all know people who kind of approach it from both ends of that spectrum. And the beauty of yoga is that it will meet you where you're at. And so it doesn't matter why you're showing up, but it is important to know that it can be this spiritual moving meditation if we choose to practice that art of devotion. So we're going to play with that a little bit today. So please take a comfortable seat. Sit up nice and tall, and by that, I don't just mean lengthen your spine and sit upright, but sit up nice and tall so that your hips are elevated up on something if need be, so that when you bring your hands to your thigh creases, which is where your hip joint lies in here, that this part of your body is higher than your knees. And that may require you to sit up on more than your ego likes, right? Like, do I really need this many props under me? Like, well, only you will know, because you'll feel the difference in your body when you try. And if we devote our time and attention to creating a space and a position for the body to find the most comfort and ease, it will change our practice and our experience physically. And then once you have that, please close your eyes and draw your awareness inward. Bring your attention to your seat, to the parts of your body that are touching your props and are touching the ground. And allow those parts of your body to get heavier. Feel that you're grounded in the lower half of your body. You could even imagine roots growing deep and wide into the earth beneath you. And then from there, inhale and lengthen your spine. Grow a little taller. Take the crown of your head a little higher to the sky. And on your next inhale, float your shoulders up towards your ears, take them back, and down. You can glide your hands back on your thighs until your elbows are just under your shoulders. And then very subtly lean back. It could even be a shifting of internal perspective more to the back of the body. And notice what that changes. Take a moment and relax your tongue in your mouth. And let your tongue get heavy and wide on the lower palate. Soften the expression of your face. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Notice your breath. We don't have to think about breathing in and out. This autonomic function. But when we do bring our attention to our breath, it moves from being involuntary to this voluntary experience where we can control and change the pattern of our breath. Allow this experience of breathing to be an act of devotion. Can you draw in a little fuller breath and bring it all the way into your belly? Can you exhale completely, moving all of the air back out of the body? What comes up when you notice the breath this way? What lies under the surface of the breath? Sometimes for me, it can be a feeling of calm and peacefulness. And sometimes it can bring up a lot of anxiety. I start to overthink and worry about the breath, or even feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't breathe. So just notice what's there with curiosity. Like, oh, okay, anxiety. I wasn't aware that I was carrying that. How interesting. And then this way we begin to witness our own story, our own self, and gain insight into where we need to devote our time and energy. On your next inhale, please bring your hands together in front of your heart. Placing your palms in Anjali Mudra. Keep a little space between your palms, and here you could imagine that a candle flame is glowing, or that there's a little tiny ball of light. On your next breath in, raise your heart to that light. And feel and know that this light between your palms is centered and dwells in the space of your own heart always. If we can simply remember to devote ourselves to coming home to it. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. And it could be just to practice devotion somewhere, or to maybe recognize that where you do devote yourself already is exactly where your energy needs to be directed, and to give yourself permission and space to do that. We'll begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in. Let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. Gently bow your head to your hand. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands. We're gonna just come off of our props, at least most of them. You could stay up on like the edge of a blanket, but otherwise you're gonna come back to a cross-legged seat where you're more firmly on the ground for this one. And you can change the cross of your legs. And then you'll bring your hands to your knees and you'll start to circle your torso and your body in one direction. It doesn't matter which one. And as you do this, you could draw your awareness inward and close your eyes, or you could keep your gaze soft. And maybe you start by placing your awareness down in your hips and your low back. Maybe it's like, whoa, what is happening down there? And then you could shift that awareness a little higher to your chest and notice how your experience of movement in the pose changes when you think about the rotation coming from your chest and your heart instead of from your pelvis. And then the same thing with maybe your shoulders. What happens when you bring the movement to initiate from your shoulders? And then where do you like it best? Where do you like to keep the awareness? Place it wherever you like. And then you'll slowly spiral back up to center and then just switch directions. So just gently opening the hips here in a way that's really organic and hopefully feels good on the body. And you don't have to worry about what it looks like or whether you're doing it right or wrong. And just letting your body move in the way that it wants to. Good, and then you'll spiral back up to center. And then place your hands to your heart. We'll move through a few rounds. This is one I do this often in class. So if you've taken a class with me, you've probably done this one before, but it's called a circle of joy. And so here, with your hands to your heart, you'll inhale, interlace your fingers and lift your elbows. Exhale, press your palms away and round your back. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Look up. Exhale, float your arms down, interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, stretch your arms away, arch your spine, bring your gaze up. Exhale, hands back to heart center. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, interlace the fingers, lift the elbow tips. Exhale, press the palms away, round your back. Inhale, just the arms up to the sky, look up, lengthen. Exhale, float your arms down, interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, stretch your arms away, arch the spine, gaze up. Exhale, hands back to your heart. 1 more. Inhale, interlock the fingers, lift the elbows. Exhale, palms press away, round your back. Inhale, reach the arms up, lengthen. Exhale, float the arms down, interlace hands behind you. Inhale, stretch the arms away, lift your heart. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Then bring your hands down by your sides. You could change the cross of your legs again or not. And then as you inhale, take your right arm up in line with your ear, root down through your hips and your pelvis. Feel that you're grounded to the earth. Inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, reach out over to the left. Ground more through your right sitting bone. And then see if you can lengthen your side body. Reach out through your fingertips. Your gaze could be under your arms, straight out towards me, down towards the ground, whatever feels best on your neck. Inhale back to center, exhale, release. Inhale, left arm up, Get tall, exhale, reach out and over to the right. Ground more through your left sitting bone. Reach and lengthen through the side body, all the way from your hip, through your rib cage to your armpit, up your arm and out through your fingers. Inhale, back to center, exhale, release. Turn your palms up, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, go ahead and twist to the left, bring your left hand behind you, right hand to your left knee. Inhale, sweep the arms back up through center. Exhale, take it over to the right. Left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you, gaze out over your right shoulder. Inhale, sweep the arms back up to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale to unwind. All the way back up. Exhale, twist. One more each direction. So inhale, arms up, and exhale, twist. Inhale up, exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center, and exhale, hands to your heart. Beautiful. So come to all fours, setting yourself up for cat-cow. Bring your knees just under your hips, wrists under your shoulders. Move through a few rounds here of cat and cow. As you inhale, lift your sitting bones, arch your spine, gaze up. As you exhale, round through your back. Move with your breath. Come back to a neutral spine and find child's pose. Take your knees wide, big toes to touch. Send your hips back towards your heels. Walk your arms out in front of you. Maybe your forehead comes to the mat. If it doesn't reach, you can stack your fists or use a block and rest it there. And here in child's pose, not only is this a resting pose, where we can come to reconnect to our breath and give our bodies a break from our practice, but it's also this deep act of devotion, of bowing, of turning inward. So here, perhaps you connect back to that intention and see what it is that you want to connect to and devote your practice to today. And that could literally be anything. It could be just this act of self-care. It could be to just taking care of your body, stretching out so that maybe your back doesn't hurt so much when you eat. It could be connecting to some higher power or to devote your practice to a person who's either here or has passed. There's so much room and space to choose where you place this energy. And then please walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. Inhale, come back through center, and exhale, take your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side. Inhale back to center, and then make your way into downward facing dog. You'll place your hands so that your fingers are evenly spaced and wide. Index fingers point straight ahead. Tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back. Lengthen and press back. You can pedal out through your legs here, bend one knee and send the opposite heel towards the earth. Notice if this feels like a lot of work. It's okay if it does, very normal, especially the first down dog. Or if it already feels more like a resting pose. As you inhale, walk your feet forward to use your hands. Exhale as you fold. As you bow over your legs, you could bring your hands to blocks if your hamstrings are tight, or keep your knees really bent, it's up to you. But the goal here is to have a neutral spine without any rounding in your low back. So let's all take a hand to the low back and bend your knees a lot. Yep. Okay, then widen your sitting bones, right? You want to think like this full moon, like you're meeting somebody behind you, right? And then feel your low back. Do you feel a natural curve? Were you able to find it there? So that's what you want. You want to keep that neutral curve in the low back. Now, everybody just go ahead and straighten your legs. Did you lose it? I lost it. Okay, hamstrings. So you want to find that. You want to keep your knees bent so that you can find the natural curve of the spine and lengthen through the crown of your head as if your spine were in the same position as when you were sitting cross-legged with your head high. As you inhale, lengthen your spine, bring your gaze slightly forward, and as you exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Press down into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a look at your feet, see that they're parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. Activate your legs, hug the shins in towards each other, kneecaps lift, thighs are engaged, and hug your outer hips in. Bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face up, face forward, up. Then inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to that flat back. Exhale, bow back. Root through your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. So we'll call that a half sun salutation. We're going to do 3 of those. You're going to do it on your own. And you're going to come into this space of devotion while you do it. Let it be a moving meditation. So inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. 2 more on your own. Once you bring your hands back to heart center, we'll add on. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Then exhale, step back, downward facing dog. This time, inhale, come forward to a high plank and pause. And so if you had to move your feet back from down dog to plank, then your down dog is probably too short. So keeping your hands and your feet where they are in plank, come back into down dog. and feel the difference there. It may feel very unstable. That's okay, just information. Then inhale, come forward to your high plank. Exhale, bring your knees down. You could pad your knees if needed. As you do this, make sure that your butt doesn't stick back. You want to keep the plank. So the tailbone lengthens, the low belly draws in. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back, so heart forward, sternum forward. Bring your gaze to the front of your mat. And as you exhale, bend your elbows straight back, lower your chest all the way down to the ground. Once you come down onto your belly, lift your feet up in the air. Pick up your right knee, lengthen it towards the back of your mat, bring it down. And do the same thing on the left side. Lift the left knee, lengthen it back, bring it down. Notice the difference in the fronts of your hips. Then extend your legs, point your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. Cobra. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. So now we'll move through another vinyasa with that same attention of devotion. You could take whatever variation of vinyasa most suits you, like the one we just went through. It's a gentle version, or you could do chaturanga. But whatever it is, see if you could move slow and with your breath, not rush it, and deeply connect to the movement. So inhale forward to your high plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, down dog. From here, take your right leg to the sky as you inhale. Lunge it all the way forward as you exhale. You really have to scooch that foot up so that your right knee is stacked over your right ankle. So the foot's not back here, right? This is a misalignment. We want to get that stack of the knee right over that front ankle. And then bring your hands up onto blocks if you need them or if you like them, or if you're curious as to whether you like them or whether you need them. From here, lift your hips higher than you think. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward. So you're leveling your pelvis to the front of your mat. Once you have that, you can sink the pelvis down. Bring the right thigh more to 90 degrees with the knee, parallel to the ground, and lift your chest. Breathe. Bring your left hand down to the ground if it's not already. Inhale, sweep your right arm. Open up your heart as you twist. Connect to your breath. Exhale, release. Downward facing dog. Options here. You can stay in down dog. You can come to child's pose. You can move through your vinyasa. On your next inhalation, take your left leg to the sky from down dog. And then exhale, lunge your foot all the way forward. Remember, you can use your blocks, give yourself a little more space and length. And then lift your hips higher than you think. Draw your left hip back, your right hip forward. Hug your hips in towards each other. Then sink the pelvis down towards the mat. Keep pressing the right thigh up. Lengthen through the spine, reach your heart forward. Breathe. Bring your right hand down to the ground. You can even come off of your mat onto the floor a little bit. And then inhale, sweep the left arm, twist. Pull the shoulders back, lean back. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Same options here. You can stay in down dog, you can move to vinyasa. We'll all end and meet up in child pose. In child pose, walk your hands in just enough so that you can thread the needle. We'll take your right arm and place it underneath your left, come down onto your right shoulder, right ear can come to the ground or to a block. See if you could keep your navel pointing straight down to the ground. Press down into your left hand. Inhale, sweep your right arm up. Twist your heart open. Exhale, release your right hand down. Thread the needle on the other side. Take your left arm underneath your right. Come down onto your left shoulder. Your left ear can come to the ground, or you could rest it on the block. Then you check in with your navel. And imagine that if you could drop a plumb line down from your belly button, that would go right through the center. Press into your right hand, inhale, sweep your left arm up, so you unwind. Exhale, release, and make your way back into down dog. Have blocks up at the top of your mat if you don't already. And then from down dog, inhale, right leg to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot forward. And this time, pivot your back heel down. So your back heel spins down. Your front foot lines up with the center of your back foot. And then cartwheel your arms up, coming into warrior two. Bring the center of your head right over your tailbone. So you could take your middle finger right to the center of your head and see if you could line that up with the base of your spine. And then take your gaze out over your right middle finger. From here, bring your right forearm onto your thigh and take your left arm out in line with your ear. Palm faces down to the ground and you're reaching forward towards me. Use your right forearm to guide your knee open towards the pinky toe edge of the foot. Inhale, back up, warrior two. Now flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, so nothing changes in your legs, you're just leaning back. Press down into your right foot, straighten your right leg. Keep leaning back. So now you're in reverse triangle, you got it. Then inhale, bring your arms up to a T. Take a look down at your front leg and your hands to your hips. The arms break. So here, put a little bend into your front knee. And now track it over to your, so it's in line with your second toe, not your big toe, second toe. Keep it there and straighten your leg down. Maybe it's in a little different position than it was. Now bring your arms up to a T. Take a breath in. As you exhale, reach your fingers past your toes. And then bring your hand down, grab your block. Have it on the outside of your right shin. Maybe it comes up at its highest setting. Maybe it drops down, but mostly everybody needs a block. It's kind of, atypical to not need one here. Then extend your left arm straight up to the sky. So imagine that your arms are just like in warrior two here. It's just the rest of your body that's bent differently, right? Reach out through the crown of your head. Maybe you lean back just a little bit. Breathe. Then put a little bend into your right knee, cartwheel your arms down to the ground, pivot your back heel up and step back, down dog. Move through a vinyasa here if you feel so called. Or you can just hang out in down dog, and if you need to reconnect, you come into child's pose. So this choice that we have may seem insignificant or trivial, but I find that it's one of the most important parts of the practice, because instead of just doing what I tell you to do, or what any teacher guides you to do, instead we check in with ourselves, with our own body. What would feel best? Can I honor that? Can I devote my attention to what I most need in this moment and not care about what anyone else does or says about it? From down dog, inhale and take your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step your foot all the way up in between your hands. Pivot your back heel down, find that heel to arch alignment. Once you have it, cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. Once you come up into warrior two, check out what's going on here. So the tendency is that we lean like this in warrior two. We're leaning forward into the future, we're ready to go. But we're always looking for Tadasana and mountain pose in every yoga posture. So the center of the head comes right over the tailbone, right? Same long length of spine as if I were just standing upright. Then you take a look down your front leg. Can you see your big toe? The knee tracks over that second toe. Couple of breaths. Then bring your left forearm onto your thigh. Take your right arm out in line with your ear. Palm faces down, reach forward. Begin to rotate your chest towards the right side of your mat. Opening up, maybe up towards the sky. Inhale, back up, warrior two. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Press down into your left foot, straighten your left leg. Inhale, arms up to a T. Exhale, hands to your hips. Look down at your front leg. Put a little bend in your knee, and then track your knee in line with the second toe. Once you have that, keep it there, straighten the leg. Then bring your arms back up in line with your shoulders. Take a breath in. As you exhale, reach your fingertips forward. Exhale, come down, find your block. Trikonasana, triangle pose. So you place your block in such a way so that you still have those same warrior two arms here. Your shoulder is in line with your wrist. You lengthen your neck. You have a tendency to kind of drop the head and shorten the left side of the neck. So reach out to the crown of your head, keep both sides of the neck equally long, and take your gaze up into your top thumb. Put a little bend in your left knee, cartwheel your arms down, pivot your back heel up, downward facing dog. Let's call this the last opportunity for a vinyasa. Maybe that's motivating force. And then from down dog, lift your right leg again to the sky. This time we're coming into pigeon. So as you exhale, bring your right knee forward towards your right wrist. If this is not available to your body, this is a weight-bearing variation of pigeon, which requires a good amount of openness in the hips to begin with. So maybe you do pigeon this way instead, where you're on your back and you have the same shape of the leg, but it's no longer weight-bearing on your body. Okay. If you are in the weight-bearing variation of pigeon, very important that your right knee be outside of your right hip. So bring your hand to your right hip, and if your knee is kind of in line with it, you really need to get it over. And if it's not getting over, then you do it on your back. Your shin does not have to be parallel to the front of your mat. Your foot does need to be active. Hug your legs in towards each other, lift your heart. Whenever you're ready, you come into your fullest expression of pigeon. Maybe that's forearms onto blocks. Maybe that's forearms down onto your mat. Maybe that's forehead to your mat. So I've often found that yoga leads me into prayer. And sometimes it's just like, oh dear God, let me get through this pose. Whatever that looks like for you. Or maybe it's something deeper, where you're connecting to your breath, where you're consciously devoting your attention to letting go of that which no longer serves you. Of anything old and stagnant and stuck that's ready to be released. See if you could melt your heart a little bit more. And if you're doing this on your back, you'll interlace your hands either behind your left thigh. Yeah. And if they're interlaced behind your thigh, slide them down so that they're not, this is only if you're doing it on your back, so that they're not in the crease of your knee, but more towards your sitting bone, right in the center of the hamstring, the back of the thigh. And deepen your breath. If you're on your back, you can release, take your feet as wide as your mat and knock your knees onto each other. If you're in a weight bearing pigeon, you'll place your hands, slowly make your way into down dog. And once you're there, take your right leg up to the sky, bend your knee, open up the hips, stack the right hip on top of the left. Three-legged dog. And then we'll all switch sides. So right foot comes down, left leg lifts. If you're on your back, you just go to the other side. And then exhale, bring your left knee forward. It comes to your left wrist, outside of your left hip. Walk your back toes back, maybe in towards the midline. Draw the legs in towards each other to level the hips towards the front of the mat. Heart lifts, and exhale, find your expression of pigeon. Wherever you are, check back in with your tongue in your mouth. Release any tension in your jaw. Maybe you're like me and your jaw wants to participate in every pose. And thinks if I just clench hard enough, this will be easier. So you see where you can release the tension that pools. If it pools in your tongue, if it pools in your jaw, if it pools in your neck and your shoulders. Where can you soften? Go ahead and release. If you're on your back, just stay on your back and come into constructive rest again. Otherwise, you'll come into down dog. Find your three-legged dog with the left leg to the sky. And then we'll all come down onto our backs. So we'll just transition to lay down. So from here, take a full body stretch. Lengthen from the tips of your fingers to your toes. Then bring your arms down into cactus or goalpost arms. So your elbows are in line with your shoulders, your wrists are over your elbows, backs of the hands on the ground. Bend your knees, place your feet on the mat, and then toe heel your feet as wide as your mat. Take a breath in. As you exhale, drop both knees over to the right. Take your gaze out over your left shoulder. Inhale up through center, knees come up, gaze comes up. Exhale, knees to the left, look over your right shoulder. So just move through this flow here. Inhale to center, exhale, to twist. Moving with your breath. One more each side. Inhale, come back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little massage here on your low back. Circle your knees in one direction and then the other, just rock side to side. Hug your knees back to center. Keep your right knee hugged in, extend your left leg on the ground. Take your right knee in your left hand. Bring your right arm out to cactus once more. Take a breath in, exhale and twist. Guide your knee across your body over to the left. Roll all the way onto your outer left hip. If your right shoulder pops up, which it does for most people, then bring your right hand to your right rib cage and just rest it there. Look out over your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Hug your right knee back into your chest. Take a couple of breaths here. This is such a good and underrated yoga pose, especially for digestion or any elimination issues. It's even really good for anxiety. Go ahead and release and extend your right leg long to meet your left. Pause and notice the difference between your right side and your left. Then hug your left knee into your chest. Take your left knee in your right hand, left arm out to the side, breathe in, exhale to twist. Guide your knee all the way over to the right, roll onto the outer right hip. Look out over your left shoulder. You can place your left hand to your left rib cage. Inhale, come back to center. Hug your left knee back into your chest. Take a few breaths here. So the more you can squeeze your knee in, the more this will activate those different meridians, energetic pathways in the body. Notice if your shoulders are rounding forward here and see if you could take them back. Go ahead and release, extend your left leg to meet your right. So if this feels so good, that you don't wanna move, you could just stay like this. Otherwise, we're gonna set up for a more restorative Shavasana, but it's entirely up to you. So if you wanna do the restorative Shavasana, you're gonna hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side and come up just long enough so that you can set yourself up. And for this is called Babbling Brook. So you'll take a bolster, it's gonna come under your knees. And then you'll take a blanket. And that's gonna come under your head, behind your head. But you roll up the edge just enough so that it makes a little support for your neck. You could cover yourself up with another blanket. If you get a little chilly. Ideally, if you can, position yourself so that your heels still touch the ground. It'll be a more grounded Shavasana. And then you'll bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. So for this, I'm going to offer Reiki in Shavasana. If you don't want to receive Reiki, which is just a universal light energy that moves through my hands into your body, then just raise your hand now and I won't be offended at all. I just will pass you by. Otherwise, you'll feel my hands either on your head or your ankles. So let's all take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. Let your body get heavy on the ground. Relax your tongue in your mouth and make a little space between your lower jaw and your upper jaw. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Let go of anything that happened before this moment and anything that's yet to come. I'll be fine out this whole time so you guys can relax. Allow yourself to fully surrender into Shavasana. Draw awareness back into your body. As you wiggle your fingers, your toes. You start to circle wrists, your ankles. Start to stretch in any way that feels good on your body. And then hug your knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug. And roll to your right side and pause here. Take a moment to honor yourself for the devotion and showing up on your mat. For the devotion that it takes to start and continue a yoga practice. And from the way that when we devote our attention to our own hearts, we can then devote our hearts to others. And moving very slowly, start to make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. When you arrive, close your eyes. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class, feeling free to modify or change it in any way to take off of your mat back out into your life and use for the rest of your day or your week. Let's seal in our intentions and end our class with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice today. So great to be here with you, and enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, your week. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thanks so much, Debbie. Have a great day.
You as well. Take care. Bye.